Hi, I'm Nia and I'm 27. So let me tell you about my mother-in-law situation. It's been a wild ride to say the least. See, Jamal and I met when he was already estranged from his family for a good couple of years. That meant I never had the pleasure of meeting his mom, Suri. And boy, was that a touchy subject for Jamal. I was always curious about his family and wanted to know more. I mean, who wouldn't? But every time I tried to bring it up, Jamal would get all defensive or change the subject. It was like he had built this impenetrable wall around his past, and I was left with more questions than answers. Our conversations about this estrangement were like walking on eggshells. I'd tiptoe into the topic, hoping he'd open up and share some juicy family gossip, but nope. It was like hitting a brick wall. He'd shut down or explode with anger. Talk about frustrating. He'd respond like, Nia, you don't get it. My family is a whole mess, and you don't want to get caught up in that drama. But babe, we're a team. I want to understand your history and be there for you. We can handle anything together. Just drop it. I don't want to talk about it. It was tough, you know. I wanted to be the supportive partner, the one who would listen and help Jamal navigate his complicated family stuff. But he was so guarded, like he was protecting some deep, dark secret. And I was left feeling like an outsider, trying to decode his past. Deep down, I could see the conflict in Jamal's eyes. He had this yearning for a different kind of family, one that he never got to experience. But at the same time, he carried his heavy baggage of disappointment and hurt. It was like his past had left a scar on his heart that he wasn't ready to expose to me. Jamal, I get that it's tough for you, but I'm here for you no matter what. We can face anything together, remember? I know, Nia. It's just complicated. Maybe one day I'll open up about it, but for now, let's focus on building our own little family, okay? And that's how we rolled. I learned to be patient and respect his boundaries, even though it drove me crazy not knowing the whole story. I knew deep down that when he was ready, Jamal would let me in on his family's secrets. Until then, I held on to the hope that our love and understanding would break down those walls one day. Well, 7 years later, that day came. Picture it. Our cozy little home filled with the sounds of laughter and the scent of homemade cookies wafting from the kitchen. Life was humming along nicely for Jamal and me, 9 years into our marriage. Our 2 children, Erin and Echo, were growing up so fast, bringing us immeasurable joy. We were building a life together, making more money and finding success in our respective careers. It felt like we were living the dream. But then, out of the blue, our peaceful existence was shattered by an unexpected knock on the door. It was a seemingly ordinary day, the sun shining brightly, casting a warm glow through the windows. Little did I know that this knock would change everything. Curiosity piqued. I made my way to the door, anticipation mingled with a hint of caution. Who could it be? Maybe a neighbor with a misplaced package or a lost delivery person? As I turned the doorknob, I was greeted by a woman I had never seen before. Her appearance alone set off alarm bells in my head. Her weary eyes spoke of a journey, and her clothes showed signs of wear and tear. I could sense desperation lingering in the air. Before I could even open my mouth to ask her who she was and what she wanted, she said, Nia, who are you? How do you know my name? I know this must be a shock, but I'm Jamal's mother, Suri. I've been searching for him, and I used the last of my money to find my son. I don't know where else to go. Please, just hear me out at least. Suri, Jamal's mother, the woman who had been absent from his life for so many years, was standing before me. A flood of questions surged through my mind. Why had she chosen now to reappear? I felt torn between protecting my family and giving her the chance to explain herself. Without hesitating, I closed the door slightly and reached for my phone and dialed Jamal's number. I told him what was going on, and his voice sounded concerned, tinged with a hint of frustration as he answered. Nia, whatever you do, don't let her in. But she's right here, and she looks like she hasn't showered in days. And I doubt she's eaten either. She needs help. I swear to God, Nia. I'm letting her in, at least to sit and rest. Before he could argue with me, I hung up. Taking a deep breath, I looked Suri in the eyes and made my decision. All right, Suri, you can come in, but I want you to know that Jamal is not happy about this. Make it quick. She entered and requested a glass of water. I gave it to her, and she latched onto it like she hadn't seen water in days. She looked worn out, like she had been through hell and back. Finally, I asked her what her deal was and why she had been absent for so long. Suri took a deep breath and started pouring her heart out. She explained that life had been incredibly tough for her over the past 9 years. She had experienced homelessness, struggled to make ends meet, and battled with drug addiction that had cost her jobs and stability. It was tough for me. I was lost. But I'm better now. I'm clean and I'm not getting into any trouble. I want to turn my life around and start new, and that means reconnecting with my son. I was floored. I had no idea about any of this. I couldn't believe that Jamal had kept such a painful secret from me. Suri's revelation hit me like a ton of bricks, and I realized the extent of Jamal's pain and the scars he had carried silently. It all stemmed from his turbulent upbringing, bouncing in and out of foster care due to his mother's struggles with addiction. Tears streamed down Suri's face as she confessed the regrets and remorse she felt for the choices she had made. She acknowledged the pain she had caused Jamal, her son. It was a raw and vulnerable moment. I was torn between anger and compassion. The anger bubbled up inside me, thinking of the hurt Suri had inflicted upon my husband. But at the same time, I couldn't ignore the genuine remorse in her eyes. She seemed sincere in her desire to make amends and start fresh. As I looked at Suri, her tear-streaked face filled with regret, my heart softened a bit. I couldn't help but wonder if forgiveness and healing were possible. Not just for Jamal's sake, but for all of us. The anger still lingered, but empathy began to surface. We talked a bit more, and I was thinking that it was time for her to leave and perhaps return when Jamal felt comfortable. But before I could say that, I heard the familiar rumble of his car. Things certainly took a dramatic turn when Jamal stormed into the house. He didn't even bother to park his car properly. Such was his urgency to confront the situation unfolding inside. His face was twisted with anger, a sight I had never seen before, and it sent a shiver down my spine. I knew we were in for a heated exchange. As soon as Jamal laid eyes on his crying mother and me, he wasted no time in expressing his frustration. I told you not to let her in here. And just like that, our calm household was engulfed in a whirlwind of emotions. Naturally, I defended my decision, arguing that Suri had promised to explain herself and that I couldn't simply turn her away without hearing her out, especially since he didn't tell me anything for the past 9 years. The tension escalated as our voices grew louder, each of us desperately trying to get our point across. What do you expect, Jamal? I haven't known anything for 9 years, yet here she is, telling me everything within seconds of meeting. I told you that I wasn't ready to talk about it. I told you not to let her in, and you did anyway. How am I supposed to trust you? Jamal, sweetie, don't you dare. I've changed, I promise. Yeah, like I haven't heard that one before. This time I'm being serious, I swear it. I swear it on my life. What good is it swearing on your own life? You're already dead to me. Jamal! Stay out of this, Nia. But then, to my utter surprise, Suri's demeanor took a sudden shift. She morphed from a remorseful and tearful woman into a sly and cunning fox with a bitter tone. She said, Baby, you know that I love you. I gave birth to you for Christ's sake. I at least deserve a little respect. I couldn't understand how Suri could switch so drastically from remorse to cockiness. But what surprised me even more is what she said next. Jamal, I demand that you divorce this woman and kick her out of your house. Both Jamal and I were confused. It felt like a slap in the face, leaving me stunned and hurt. I looked at her, searching for answers. What the hell are you talking about? Shut up. I'm not talking to you. And then, with a manipulative glimmer in her eye, Suri began to twist the situation to her advantage. She turned on the charm, trying to win Jamal over with fond memories of their past and the promise of a happy family. Jamal, do you remember late evenings with Aunt Claire? How we'd sit on the porch drinking lemonade in the summer? Yeah, I remember. But that only happened because you were out of drugs. Otherwise, you'd never hang out with me. That's all in the past now, sweetie. I promise you I've changed. I'm doing better. We can go back to these memories, all the happy ones. I wasn't falling for any of this baloney, but when I looked over at Jamal, there were tears in his eyes. Her words were like a siren's song, enticing Jamal into her embrace. As I watched my husband falter, his tears streaming down his face, I couldn't help but acknowledge that this was how toxic their relationship was. She had a hold on him, and she was using it to her advantage. My heart sank as Suri continued to push her agenda, urging Jamal to divorce me so they could rebuild their lives together. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could she ask him to just throw our marriage away like it's no big deal? I mustered up the courage to respond, my voice tinged with hurt and disbelief. Suri, seriously? These accusations are ridiculous. I would never stand in the way of a mother trying to reconnect with her son. But telling Jamal to divorce me is not the answer. We can figure out a way to make things work without tearing apart what Jamal and I have built together. What is your problem with me? But Suri wasn't giving up. She kept insisting, her voice getting more determined. Jamal, you have to do as Mommy says. She's just trying to protect you and bring our family back together. Nia is just standing in the way, making things complicated. Don't you want to go back to how it was when things were good between us? I felt my heart break as Jamal's resolve started to waver. He turned to me, his voice trembling, and said, I think maybe we should get a divorce. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like a punch to the gut, a betrayal I never saw coming. In the heat of the moment, frustration and hurt poured out of me. I raised my voice, desperately trying to make him see reason. How can you let her control you like this? Just a little while ago she was begging and crying, and now she's acting all cold and dismissive towards me? If you let her back into your life, she'll mess with your emotions all over again. Can't you see that? Jamal met my gaze, his expression a mix of defiance and confusion. He shot back, defending his decision. You don't get it, Nia. Our bond is different. There's something between us that you'll never understand. I need to give my mother another chance, and you're making that impossible. Jamal, you were right, okay? I never should have let her into the house. I just wanted to hear her out. I didn't know that she was like this, but now I see what you mean about her. She has to leave if she's going to act like this. You see, she's already trying to separate us. Kick her out already. Nia, you need to go. I'll send over the divorce papers when they're ready. But you can't be here, okay? Are you being serious right now? Super serious. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized that the man I loved, the man I had built a life with, was slipping away. The pain of his words cut deep, leaving me feeling helpless and betrayed. A month after filing for divorce, just chilling in my hotel room, when suddenly I heard a knock on my door. I cautiously approached the door, wondering if I should open it. But curiosity got the better of me, and I swung it open. And guess who was standing there? Suri looked like a hot mess. I mean, she was all disheveled, eyes wide with panic, and she was practically shaking. Before I could even get a word out, Suri blurted out, "You need to come back. He's crazy." "Suri, what's going on?" "I made a mistake. I never should have done what I did to you." "You think?" "Please help me. What's going on?" She went on to explain that he was losing it, breaking things, and acting like a total lunatic. "Just this morning he held a knife to my neck. He must have been having a breakdown or something because he snapped out of it and apologized casually, like he didn't threaten my life. I came here right afterward. I haven't been sleeping because I was fearing for my life." "What the heck happened to him? He was fine a month ago. I mean, last time I checked, he wasn't on any drugs or anything. So what gives?" Suri started sobbing, telling me she had no clue what was going on. Apparently, ever since I left, Jamal had been on his rampage. Filled with anger and frustration, who knows what else. She had tried to reason with him, but it was like talking to a bomb that was on the verge of exploding. "So, what do you want me to do?" I need you to come back." I don't think so." "What? But he's your husband." "Ex-husband, remember? You're the one who instigated it even." "Yes, I know, but nothing, Suri. You made your bed, and now you gotta lay in it. I can't stay in that house a second longer. If you're not coming back, he'll kill me." Suri looked like a wreck. She looked much worse than the first time I saw her. Wait, hold up. Plot twist alert. Brace yourselves, because what I'm about to reveal might just blow your mind. You see, as I stood there listening to Suri's plea for help, a mischievous grin slowly spread across my face. Why, you ask? Well, it turns out that Jamal and I had planned this whole thing together. Yep, you heard that right. You see, when Jamal said he was super serious about divorcing me, I knew right then and there that something fishy was going on. Super serious was our little inside joke, a phrase we used when we were planning something sneaky or surprising. It was our secret code. So let's rewind a bit. On the day that Suri came over and demanded that Jamal divorce me, I decided to play along. I left the house acting all upset and hurt and checked into a hotel room. Little did Suri know Jamal was in on the plan too. A few hours later, Jamal joined me at the hotel, and that's when he spilled the beans. He revealed that he had been plotting to mess with the person who had been emotionally abusive to him all these years. And who better to help him than his partner in crime? Yours truly. We concocted this plan to fake our divorce, with me staying in the hotel while Jamal played the dutiful son putting on a show for Suri. It was a way for us to turn the tables and teach her a lesson. After all, they say revenge is a dish best served cold. But let me tell you, it wasn't all smooth sailing. We had to keep up the act, even when things got tough. There were moments when I wanted to spill the beans and reveal our grand plan, but we had to stay strong. We knew that in the end it would all be worth it. And boy, was it worth it. We watched from the sidelines as Suri fell into our trap, believing that she had won. Little did she know she was playing right into our hands. It was a thrill to see her reactions, to witness her confusion and frustration. Now, I know what you're thinking. Was it a bit manipulative? Maybe. But sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, and trust me, Suri had it coming. She had caused so much pain and turmoil in our lives, and it was time for her to face the consequences. So there we were, playing our roles to perfection. Jamal, the devoted son, and me, the heartbroken wife. It was a masterclass in deception, and we were the star performers. As we continued with our little charade, we couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. We were finally taking control of our own narrative, reclaiming our power and standing up against the one who had tormented us for too long. But let me tell you, dear audience, this story is far from over. The twists and turns are far from finished. So buckle up, because there's more drama, more surprises, and more lessons to be learned. And believe me, you won't want to miss a single moment of it. So if you can't go home, what are you going to do? I guess I have to return to my homeless lifestyle. This is exactly what I didn't want to happen. Is there any way I can live with you? Go to hell, Suri. You're an awful person, and I'm glad that Jamal gave you a taste of your own medicine. I'm glad that he tormented you. Serves you right for all those years of abuse and neglect.